I made many videos trying to help other people, if I can, if they let me, to try to remember ways to remember chemical names of the elements on the periodic table of elements, and to remember the chemical symbol for those elements' name. I look for shortcuts. Not really shortcuts. I look for methods that are more permanent in the mind. If you have time to remember my method of doing this, remembering method, believe me, it'll stick with you forever. Whenever you see a certain word or certain object, you will want to. Your mind will right away go into the remembering mode. Okay. For example, people will look at a P. I want to let you know something. Some chemical symbols are very hard to make words for, very hard to memorize. You got to know. And one of these chemical symbols on the periodic table of elements is the capital Y and the small b. Okay, that's a chemical symbol for the name of yttrium. See right here? Ytterbium. So capital Y and a small b is the chemical symbol for the element's name of ytterbium. Y, capital Y, Tterbium. And that's where you get that symbol. So you look at the periodic table of elements and you see capital Y and the B, and you say to yourself, how can I remember all these elements, chemical symbols and name? It's kind of difficult, but not if you break it down. Let's use, for example, candy bar. You see the Y and you see the B right there, right? The Y in candy and the B in bar. You have it right there. There's the Y and the B. Just make words and you'll find the letters inside those words. So candy bar, let's break it down. We got the capital C and the small a right here. And that's a chemical symbol for the element's name of calcium. Capital Calcium. Then we got the N and the D. So we take the small n in candy and we're going to make that into a capital N and use the small d. So we got capital N and a small d. And that is for neodymium. It's capital N, E, O, D, Y, M, I, U, M. See? You got right there. You put that little n into the little n into a large N, a capital N and a small d, and you have neodymium. Then we have the Y for candy, and we're going to capitalize that Y. We're going to capitalize it, and then we're going to take the B in bar, and we're going to keep it into a small case B. So we got a capital Y and a small b. And that stands for ytterbium. Capital Y, that should be bigger. A capital Y, Tterbium, ytterbium. Okay, that's a chemical name, the element's name, and the chemical symbol is capital B, a capital Y, and a small b. Then we have the AR from bar. We're going to take that small little case, lowercase a, and we're going to capitalize it, and we're going to keep the R's in the lowercase, small. And we got capital A and the small r, and that's argon. Capital ARGON. Capital ARGON for argon. Okay, so you put in the candy bar. We put the name of the candy bar, a candy bar, and you get the YB. So the capital Y and the small b for ytterbium is that's simply remembered to the word candy bar. Okay, just candy bar. just spell candy bar in your head and use the Y and the B. Now remember, in the periodic table of elements, when you have two letters representing the chemical symbol, the first letter, which is a C here, is capitalized, and the second letter is a lowercase. Okay, actually you can see here, capital Y, small b, capital A, small r, capital C, small a. Now if you have one letter to represent the chemical symbol, that becomes one big capital letter. All right, like O, capital O for oxygen. All right, that'll come later. So you got the candy bar, and you have it. Okay. All right, over and out. Bye bye.